Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that I took today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow and what stocks I'm going to be watching. So, before we even get into the video, again, I'm just going to say it again. I started back up my own Discord. I used to be running one with Colton. That's who made this strategy of trading, but I know he's taking a step back from actually running like a private Discord, I think, next month. So, I'm also taking a step back. I'm just going back to my own Discord. So if you guys want all the trades that I'm taking, that's the place to be. Also, if you guys actually want to learn how to trade the strategy step by step, that's the place to be as well. Again, you don't need to be in there to learn. I mean, if you guys watch my YouTube videos, that's plenty of info to learn. The Discord's more so seeing the trades in real time, and then also just having even more examples of how I trade these charts, and kind of you get that opportunity to ask me questions throughout the day, things like that. So just wanted to put that out there because it's a different Discord that I'm alerting my trades in. I know some people were in the Discord with me and Colton, and if you're wondering where I'm at my Discord now, so you won't see any more alerts from me in that Discord. So yeah, back to solo with the Discord. But today, I mean, really good day in the Discord. If you guys were there, really good day. I'll go over why in a second. But to start off, bigger picture chart on SPY. You can see 10 SMA, which is the green, is above this 50. 50 SMA has been holding for the last few months. You can see every dip to this 50 SMA is like massive support, and we ended up bouncing off of it a few days ago. Popped up to the 10 today. I didn't trade SPY. I don't even know what the 0DT charts looked like, but I'm pretty sure there was probably some opportunity you could have taken today. But if we go to the actual weekly contracts to see the trend throughout the week, if we pull up, oh wait, these are the weekly. Wait, these are not the weeklies. What are the weeklies? That's the puts. Must be these ones right here. So if we pull up here the 30-minute on the call side. Told you guys, market was bullish. Well, to see how we open up, we end up gapping up. And if you guys are wondering why we rejected, I went over this in yesterday's video, I believe. But again, this 4-hour 50 was a massive resistance area. I told you guys, I do favor upside, but once we get up into this area, I would expect a rejection just because it sloped down quite a bit. The more it sloped down, the more the 50 sloped down like this, the of a resistance it will be. And then if you look at the 2-hour as well, 2-hour and the 4-hour are pretty much at the same exact spot. Both of them sloped down super hard, so was a pretty hefty area of resistance at the open. So really, you wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been that bullish today. If anything, I know you could have just bought puts up here. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you want to play rejection, you grab some dated puts, not too far out, but a few days out, and you would have been paid. It's pretty simple. That's major resistance on this chart, and that's what happened today. That's why we ended up reversing and getting a bit of a drop. I didn't play these charts. I was more so focused on individual stocks. That's what I've been more focused on. I just feel like it's a lot easier. Not that I wasn't doing well with futures, but like before this week and end of last week, futures trades were it was very difficult to navigate. So when that happens, I'm not gonna force myself to trade the 0DT charts when I know I'm killing it on options. So I might as well stick with options until the futures crosses end up playing out better. But I know the price action has been a lot better recently, so they've probably been working. I'll have to get back to adding those to my watch list every day. But what I did today, we caught this right off open. Very good trade here on AMD. So I'm going to break it down. Pretty simple. So if we go to the daily chart, I went over this yesterday. I told you guys, AMD, very good looking setup. Why? This dip to the 50 here on the monthly contracts, I just went over it on SPY, but on AMD, it's the same concept. It's massive support. We're on the monthly chart, so this is like the monthly trend on the contracts, and I wouldn't want to be shorting down here. I mean, this is such a strong area that you got to be buying this dip. And when we paired it up with the confluence that I'm going to show you, this is an A+ setup. It's the same exact setup as if the calls side, the calls were going to cross today on the 30-minute. It's the same exact thing. But again, going into today, this is kind of how I read it. I gave this to the private Discord. I broke it down yesterday before it even happened, and I told you guys if we get this, it's gonna be a really good setup. So again, we're at this massive. Oh my God, this chart. I do this about 20 times a video, but this chart again, massive support right here on AMD, and I favor up. All right, I didn't buy the dip at the 50. You could have, but if we flip to the weekly contracts, we actually were cross on the put side, and this is not a 30-minute cross on puts I would take, because on the monthlies, you guys know we're sitting at that daily 50 SMA. So this is not a trade across right here to take. Even though the puts did cross, when the monthlies are sitting at that daily 50, there is no reason to take a put cross. What you want to do is wait for the 30-minute here to cross negative. So that means this 10 SMA cross back below the 50, and right at open, we ended up breaking below the 50. It's hard to see because this chart it already made its move. We entered this right at open, so it's really hard to see the entry point. But if we went down to like the smaller time frames and just zoomed out, you could see the contracts were around, I don't even know, but they bounced up at some point. I think I got in these somewhere around like $4 is where I ended up grabbing longs at. These are the put side, but just in reference, I think these contracts were sitting at like around $4, like $4 to $4.50 when I grabbed these, when I grabbed calls. And it's pretty simple. This 10 SMA is going below the 50, and since the bears couldn't continue this lower, they're losing the trend, and also on the monthly time frame, that pretty much tells us we're going to get that bounce at the 50 because the bears can't drive it lower to break the 50. So what's going to happen? We're going to bounce off the 50 on the monthlies, and we got a massive move out of it, and we caught 200% in the Discord. I mean, like, it's very, very simple. There's no, it sounds complicated at first because there's different charts you're watching, different time frames, but again, all I'm doing is playing crosses on an option chart. Easiest way to read the market. You cannot convince me otherwise because all I'm doing is watching option charts and watching two lines cross and bounce out the 50. I mean, it's really not that hard. I try to nail this in people's heads, but yeah, AMD, we caught 200%. I ended up selling half at, I think, like 60%. I was originally going to sell half at 50, but by the time I actually went to go sell at 50, it was already like 60 to 65%. So I trimmed half there, and then I trimmed a little bit more once we got to, I believe, I think like 80-ish%. And then the remaining part, again, this was like a potential to rip very high because that daily 50 SMA on the monthly chart was there. So I had a break even stop, and then I was holding the rest, and we caught 200%. I held the last portion of the trade till 200%. As soon as it hit 200%, I sold it. I think it ripped a little bit higher than it pulled back a little bit. Maybe the trade went like 230, 240 at one point, but I'll take 200% any day of the week. And yeah, AMD, this is just an A+ setup. It just doesn't get better than that. I love this type of setup. It's really good. So yeah, this is like the same exact concept as if if AMD calls were crossing today and we were bouncing off the monthly chart on the monthly contracts on the daily time frame. It's the same concept. It's just a cross in the other direction. So since puts are going negative, it's still a 30-minute cross. The weeklies aren't flipping bullish, but since the higher time frame's bullish, this is why the setup was so good. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't even know what else I have on here. I know this is from yesterday's video. What is this? Oracle. I don't even know what the 30-minute chart looks like. I keep doing this to my chart, and I'm going to lose my mind. I don't even know where the actual chart went. But yeah, you could see, I mean, when you just zoom out, it's very clear that every dip here to this 50, it's a buying opportunity. You could buy near this 50, wait for either the 30-minute on puts to go negative if they're crossed when we pull back, or you wait for the weeklies to cross, or you buy this 50 dip as soon as it hits and buy some time on your hands. So those are your different kind of entry points that you could take just depending on how you want to play it. But it's always good to have that 30-minute confluence somewhere. But yeah, Oracle, you could just see the trend. I mean, this happens on a ton of stocks. You just gotta know how to pull up the contracts and actually take entries on these charts. So yeah, Oracle, I mean, I don't know what the weeklies look like, but maybe there's an opportunity there. OKLO, it's kind of the same concept. Oh my god, I think I'm doing this on every single chart that I pull up. But you can see this 50 dip, it's massive, massive support. And all you have to do is buy the 50. If we close under, you sell it. You hold it as long as we're above that 50. It's very simple, and then you just scale on the way out. I mean, the trimming, I really wouldn't trim anything before 50%. You're kind of just, doing yourself a disservice if you're trimming before that. It's either the thing is, you're not trusting the process if you're trimming before 50%, because you can see these moves that it provides when you buy the dip at the 50. I mean, if you get a bad fill, $7 a contract, look, they're up 100%. This is for multi-day continuation. You're not looking to sell this kind of on one-day pump. Even though I did on AMD, that's because I had the weeklies and shorter expiration. But when you're buying this 50 dip with some time on your hands, you want to ride it out because the potential is there. I mean, even if you see, right here, we did close under the 50. This is one of the instances though I wouldn't actually close it out though. If it broke below in ended up continuing down below this low it made, then I would sell it. But with how you know, small this closed under, I'd still be holding this. That's kind of how I judge it. If it's a, you know, clear close below, if this closed all the way down here at 388, then you'd sell it. But since it closed all the way up here at 461, I would have held this. It's just kind of something that I've learned with trading the system, is that sometimes even though we do close below, it's got to be a significant close below for me to stop out. So yeah, that's what OKLO looks like. What do we got? Palantir. I mean, Palantir gave a beautiful setup. I went over this, I think, previously, but you could see the monthly chart. It's the same thing across every ticker. I mean, it's the same concept. These 50 dips you could buy, and then I know, do we have another Palantir chart here? I know the weeklies ended up giving a great opportunity. If we actually, I'm not going to switch the contracts, but it's the same concept. There was a 30-minute cross that happened like yesterday and the day before that you could have entered on, and there's a fat move that it gave. It's pretty simple. We're just playing crosses and 50 dips. I mean, if you like, find me a strategy that is easier than this. You can't, because it's very clear, cut, and dry. Like, we're playing bounces off the 50 and we're playing crosses. I mean, it's not that hard to learn. We're not drawing any levels on our charts. The SMAs are our levels, and that's all we need to read the market to a T. So Palantir pins, this thing is taking like 10 years to play out. You could see this daily chart. I mean, we're just consolidating. This is why, obviously, this isn't usually what happens. Pins, it's a like cheaper stock. I mean, it's not like a typical trade that I would take, but you know, it's the same concept. 10 went above the 50. I would expect it to go higher, but it's just taking its time. And then I think that's all we got. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a setup right now. I'm gonna keep that to the private though. I'm only gonna go over trades that we've actually closed. Actually, yeah, wait, hold on. I did take a loss today. Nvidia, 20% loss. I'm not gonna gatekeep my losers because I really don't care. Or not AMD. If we pull up Nvidia, if we look, where is Nvidia? So yeah, I mean, it was a good setup. I mean, it just didn't end up playing out. So it's pretty simple. The 30-minute chart was crossing here on Nvidia, and I bought this 50 dip down in here. I bought this one that was down in here. We stopped out for 20%. You honestly would have cut this earlier, but by the time I let this like play out, I wasn't on my phone. And on this closure below, you probably would have been down like maybe like 10 to 15%. I closed it at like 20. So, and that was on this closure down in here. So, yeah, it just ended up playing out. If we look at the higher time frames, they weren't crossed, but there was really no major resistance overhead. I mean, this 4-hour chart is just very funky. Doesn't really tell us much, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we rejected off of, but yeah, it's just one of those instances where it just didn't play out. And, you know, a 20% loss, I cannot complain with that. I mean, when we're hitting 200% on a trade and we take a 20% loss, like, that's nothing. I mean, 20% is nothing, especially when we're not taking profits until at least 50% to trim half. But most of the time, 60 to 80%, that's where you're trimming the majority of the position. But, you know, a 20% loss, again, very minimal risk on the trade. I even said this, the risk rewards through the roof on this trade, and it just didn't end up playing out. And if it did, we would have caught over 100% easily. So Nvidia, that's what we took as a loser today, and I'm in one swing right now that I think we're sitting at the green by like 10%, but I'll go over it. I'm only going to go over the trades that I have currently closed and locked up or taken a loss or a winner on. So yeah, that's what we did today. If you guys want to learn more, then Discord's the place to be. Again, I'm sharing all my trades in there, all the trades that I took. The AMD trade, I posted that today, and then the other swing is in there as well, and then Nvidia loss is also in there. So I'm posting everything I'm taking. If you guys want to follow along, that's the place to be. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.